This is the space in the body through which life descends into the fetus. So this is the Brahmarandhra. If dimensions beyond the physical become a constantly active process, some of you might have felt this in your Shambhavi. You got an antenna on your head, which is giving you a certain perspective of life. If you have a newborn baby in your home, you would see a certain part of the skull is not formed. Have you noticed this? So the child has to be handled gently, that part is just skin, there is no bone. So, this part in the yogic terminology is referred to as Brahmarandhra. Randhra means a passage, like a small hole or a tunnel or a passage. So this is known as Brahmarandhra. So this is the space in the body through which life descends into the fetus. Because life has descended into the fetus and life keeps its options open. Whether this body is capable of sustaining it or not, it keeps the options open. That much awareness is there in the life process, so it keeps that trapdoor open till the last minute. It wants to keep it open just in case it finds the body unsuitable for its existence, it will leave. And it does not want to leave from any other passage in the body, it wants to leave the way it came. A good guest always comes through the front door and goes out through the front door. If he comes through the front door and goes out to the back door, that means your house is swept clean. So, he wants to go out to the same door, so he keeps it open till the last minute, he wants to keep his choices. There are any number of… probably if there are doctors or obstetricians, you would know, there are any number of cases where by all medical parameters, the fetus is healthy, everything is fine, but for some reason, a stillbirth happens. Simply because the life within is still choosing. If it finds a wrong kind of body is happening, life has its own karmic substance and the fetus has the karma of the parents. So, it has made its choice, it is 90% of the time it is correct or more, it is correct. Sometimes it is conscious that it could make a wrong choice. So this is the reason why during pregnancy, so many precautions were taken to create a different kind of atmosphere around a woman who is pregnant. We're giving that up now, a woman goes to work, she sits in the cinema, she goes all over the place. Such a thing is not maintained anymore. This was done just hoping something better than who both of you are comes into your womb. You know what I'm saying? You are husband and wife, you are of a certain quality. You want your child to have a higher quality than who you are, not just like you. Someone better than you should come into your womb, so that for that sake, even a husband was not allowed to see a woman beyond a certain stage of pregnancy, because she is to be kept in a certain state of comfort and well-being, with a certain type of thought, with a certain type of atmosphere, trying to please her system in all ways, right kind of incense, right kind of sounds, right kind of mantras, right kind of food, everything, so that her body is in a state that it welcomes the right kind of being. Maybe in today's world it is all these things are out of question. So if a being enters into this particular fetus and finds it unsuitable as it evolves to become a baby, then it leaves. That is why one door is kept open. So this is the Brahmarandha. And even when you leave one day, you can leave whichever way. But if you leave through the Brahmarandha, it is the best way to leave. If you leave consciously whichever part of the body, it is fine. But if you can leave from there, it is the best way to leave. So because there is lot of talk about this, there are books which have been written about it. One thing is, there's a huge possibility that individual people may start imagining things on top of their head or between their forehead, they keep imagining many things. So you need to understand this. Wherever you focus your mind, there will be some twitching. If you want, right now you experiment, hold your little finger like this and focus at the tip of this little finger, you will see within a minute's time there will be twitching. Any part of the body, if you focus your mind, some twitching you will notice. So that is not to be mistaken as some other great process happening within you. Or of course, there are physiological twitches and twists happening here and there. Once in a while it happens to you, you're sleeping, some part of the body, little bit of twitch and this and that. Especially if you're very nervous, it could happen to you quite often. If you're at ease, it may not happen. If you're in a little bit of tension or stress, it could happen to you in different parts. So that is not to be mistaken either. I don't know if I should say this, because if I say this, you may start imagining all kinds of things. If you become meditative, now that you are becoming, as you do Shambhavi, I shouldn't say this, it'll lead to all kinds of things. Because people have a very wild imagination. I always avoid telling them anything which is not in their experience because they will start imagining all kinds of things. Anyway, if you don't do this to yourself, it's not necessary. If I hold my hand above my Brahmarandha, even up to 4 feet above, if you hold it, you will see a clear feeling in your hand, which is always in the form of something like an ache. This will be always happening if you keep your energies in a certain way. This can happen to every human being, but it is happening within. It doesn't extend itself beyond, because the final 2 chakras out of the 114 chakras that are there in the system, 2 chakras are outside the body. If dimensions beyond the physical become a constantly active process, some of you might have felt this in your Shambhavi, for a few moments, you feel something beyond yourself has become active. So if a dimension beyond your physicality becomes a continuously active process within you, then after some time, these 2 chakras which are dormant and outside the body become active. If they become active, there is you got an antenna on your head. You seen a police antenna? You got an antenna on your head, which is giving you a certain perspective of life. There is something called as a pineal gland. Various aspects of yoga or sadhana of yoga is to move it little down, south, it's called, moving it south. This is the symbolism of Shiva turning south, because his third eye moved south. What was up here came down between the 2 eyes. The moment it came here, he saw things that nobody had ever seen. Now, if this happens in a certain way, the secretions of the pineal, which in yoga is referred to as amrit or amrita or amritam probably in Sanskrit, this amritam either can be taken into the system to strengthen the system and increase or extend the longevity of the system. Or this Amrita can be taken to create blissfulness in the system, like a drug. It can just blow you away. Or you can use this Amrita to enhance your perception that you can become like thin air because everything that is here passes through you. Right now, air passes only through your nostrils, and you know if it doesn't pass, you're gone. If this air can pass through right across you, some of you might at some moment felt when you're very carefree and joyful, you stood in the breeze, it feels like breeze is passing through. And you become 100% transparent. That is because you've used your Amrita to bring sensitivity to the system. So these are three fundamental ways. One is to strengthen the body, to make it like a rock, which will give a certain longevity to that person, which is considered superhuman by most people, or to bring such a level of drunkenness and blissfulness within you that you don't care how long you live, or to make yourself like thin air, that your perception is super hyped because there is absolutely no resistance to the system. The same secretions of the pineal gland can be used in three different ways. This Amrita or this secretion of the pineal gland will play the right kind of role in the system. When I say right, in my perception, only if it enhances your perception, it is right, because if you do not enhance your perception, your life doesn't get enhanced in any way. It only gets enhanced in somebody else's eyes. If you become like a rock, your experience of life may not change. It is just other people think you're fantastic. Well, we could have made a statue out of you and you would have been a rock. Anyway, we didn't need a human being to become like a rock. If you have a rock for a brain, this will be the problem. You're always thinking, which is a bigger rock than you, which is a smaller rock than you. Your entire life goes into this as to which is superior, which is inferior, which is better, which is worse. Endlessly you will be comparing yourself because this is the nature of a rock. This is the nature of physical reality. Once you identify yourself with physical reality, which is better, which is worse, is a natural process of thought. Only if you transcend that, can you be free from this as to which is better and which is worse. When one masters one's Mooladhara, which got referred to as Kaya Kalpa, you become like a rock. You want to make the body last for a millennia or more. When Swadhisthana sadhana is done, burst of energy happens. One can deliver a god, but you may lose your body. If you bring any sound to Manipura without opening your mouth, the very body reverberates the sound. When one is dominant in their anahata, they start hearing things. A reasonably stable person can go crazy. The moment Vishuddhi is active, you become occult competent. Disembodied beings will naturally move towards you. Agna means there is clarity. The level of freedom it gives you is tremendous. The Sahasrar is total madness. The moment energy stirs Sahasrar, you drip ecstasy.